Joe doesn't dance.
No, it's okay. Joe doesn't need to dance. But you know you're in for a treat when you hear that tune, because it's time for another week of the RecPoker Podcast. I am so bloody excited. I'm Jim Reid. I'm your host. I go by Bluffsterini in the home game and at RecPoker Jim on socials. And I have the best freaking job in the world, talking poker with my friends every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube, where you can join us live for free and win some prizes just for showing up. We're going to get into more about that in just a second. We're also going to be talking to Tana Karn in just a second from the Rungood organization. I was going to say the Rungood Poker Tour, but there's so much that Rungood does. All right, more of that in just a second. First, I'm proud to share we're brought to you by Running Aces. They are the official sponsor of the RecPoker Podcast. You can find out more about them at runaces.com. Most of what we do here is free. We're a largely volunteer-based organization, so we really depend on support from our sponsors and our premium members who take part in our training material and study opportunities for only $22 a month. Now, you can sign up for a free account at rec.poker today. All it takes is an email address and a smile, and we're really putting an emphasis in 2026 on delivering more free value, more free resources to our free community members. So if you haven't already, head on over to rec.poker and sign up for a free account right now. But we love supporting food banks around here. So if you want to try out some of the perks of our premium membership, just make a donation of any amount, even $1, to your local food bank. Send me the receipt, and I'll happily send you your first month of premium for free as a way of saying thanks for helping out your fellow humans. Now, speaking of fellow humans, it's not just me. You get to know my voice because they let me host the show on Mondays, but I'm only one man. It takes a whole crew to make the magic happen over here. We call our leadership panel the RECing Crew. If you want to learn more about me or the rest of the RECing Crew, you go to rec.poker/crew, or listen up, because you're going to hear from John Somsky, Lori-Ann Persinger, Joe Coolis, and of course, invisible producer Rob Gardner here on the show tonight. Gang, what do we have anything to share with the group? I know last week we were talking about goals for 2026 and kind of putting a bow on 2025. Maybe anything exciting in the last week? Are we breaking news for anybody? Anything? No? All right, let's just get into the freaking interview.
Well, yesterday was my son's. I gave birth 31 years ago yesterday. That's about it. That's all I got.
There you go. All right. Well, congratulations.
You finished that sentence. It was a little close to birth yesterday, and I was like, "You look good."
31 years ago. Yeah. I recover really fast.
How do you?
I feel like we gotta end the show now. I mean, how do we top that? I mean, that's
there we go. My job here is done.
That's it. That's why we brought you in, galvanizing the audience, Lori-Ann.
That's right.
Now, I see already we've got a bunch of great friendly folks in the YouTube chat. So, hey, gang, thanks for all the lovely comments in there. I'm glad you're having a good time. Stick around again. We're going to be getting some information from you later and playing some fun games and giving away some great prizes. So I'm really excited to be here. All right, Tana Karn, we've had you on the show before. You and I have hung out a bunch. I've come to so many fun, amazing Rungood stops over the last few years. I think there's such a great overlap between what you guys are doing with Rungood and our RecPoker membership as well. Just like making poker accessible and fun, and prioritizing the customer experience. And it's just, you guys do such a good job of making poker fun and making it for everybody. That's a big setup, but welcome back to the RecPoker Podcast. It's great to see your face again.
Well, it's great to see you guys. I'm excited to be back. And I was, pre-production to all of this, I was just saying how far have you guys have come from when I first came on. So really excited to be here, and it looks great.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's a labor of love, and we all take so much pride in it. Like you know what it's like for a passion project, like how you've started out with Rungood, and just like with you guys, I think you can kind of tell when the people into it, when the people running it really care and really enjoy it and really get a lot out of it. So, like I say, just some great kismet to have you on the show tonight. All right, we're going to get right into it here. I'm going to put you on the spot. The first question we ask all our guests is, in case someone doesn't know who you are, says, who's this Tana Karn character? How would you define your own role in the poker world today?
Oh man, great question. It's changed over the years. I've been over there in this industry for over a decade now. Came in around 2012, 2025, 2026. Time has flown by. It's been different hats over the years, and I think the hat that I'm currently wearing on right now is just giving people opportunities to grow and blossom in this industry and continue to, almost in a sense take over the torch of poker and where it's heading it into the next generation or the next era that's coming down the pipeline. And from everything we do at Rungood, right? Even the tour, the merchandise, the photography side, the consulting that we do, everything across the board that's Rungood umbrella. It's just basically giving people an opportunity to get their spotlight and also grow within the industry itself. So my role, I would normally say it's like a mentor, but actually, I don't feel like I'm mature enough yet to be called a mentor. AKA, I'm not going to tell you guys my exact age, but I will say it's getting to that point where I do wake up. I have to make sure I stretch properly, or something's not going to work the rest of the day. So I'm getting up there in age, but it's been a blessing to give other people opportunities. So I guess my current role right now is just creating just new people that are going to change the industry for the better in the future.
Love to hear it. Sounds like a great mission. And I think so far, I'd say you're doing a great job. We're going to jump into opening the action. This is what we call our speed round, our lightning round. And then we'll get into some real questions. And folks in the YouTube chat, if you have some questions for Tana, get them in there as well. And we'll jump into it. All right. Invisible producer Rob Gardner, please put 2 minutes on the clock. It's time to get seriously silly. Opening the action with Tana Karn. All right, Tana. First one's an easy one. What is your favorite poker hand?
Oh, 7 deuce. I'm a big 7 deuce guy. There's a funny backstory. Or it's 2 minutes. So I just have
hold the backstory. Yeah, we're gonna get lightning first, okay. And then trust me, we'll ask about that one. Is poker a gamble or a skill game?
I'm gonna say it's a gamble, but skills. There's sprinkles of skill in there as well.
What's your biggest poker pet peeve?
Ooh, probably. Gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass on this.
You can pass. You can always pass. All right. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Is Ace King a drawing hand?
Yes, absolutely as well.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, a hot dog is not a sandwich.
Do you prefer dogs or cats?
I prefer dogs.
Do you prefer tournaments or cash play?
I prefer tournaments.
What's one thing you're afraid of?
Ooh, cats.
Good one. Should vacations be lazy or busy?
Can you be lazy busy? Is that a thing? Can we make that a thing
totally,
in 2026?
Totally.
Okay.
You're busy. Right down the middle of the line on a lot of these, Tana. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes. I want to say I got to represent all the misfits in the world. So yes, absolutely.
Name one player you respect. Just their name.
Ooh, Brad Owen.
What's one thing you complain about in your life?
Ooh, getting old, I guess. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
There's a yellow light coming up. Slow down or speed up?
Oh, definitely speed up. Yeah. Yeah.
We're
gambling.
Who's your poker nemesis?
Gosh, it's there's gonna be a backstory to this, but it's anyone I'm in a hand with that's actually wearing Rungood gear. I have yet to beat anyone in a pot that's wearing my merchandise.
Okay, that's a good one. Are you pro chop or no chop?
I love chops. The chops are fun. I love it when everybody wins. So I'm a everybody wins kind of person. So,
do you drape your toilet paper so it hangs in the front or hangs from behind?
Gotcha. As a non-psychopath, in the front.
Yes, thank you. Right, take that, David Westerveld. Name one musical artist you enjoy.
Journey. I'll just go with Journey.
Would you rather? Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna give him the last one. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Oh, I think it'd be more fun punting 100 ducks around that are horse size. Yes, I think. Unless I got that question wrong, but I'll go with the second one. Yeah.
There are very few wrong answers to these questions. All right, we're going to let our proprietary algorithm run in the background, and we'll let you know your score at the end of the show. But we didn't get through as many questions as we do with some, but your answers were very high value. So I think that's going to work in your in your favor as we get into it. All right. That was opening the action. Now, I'll remind our YouTube chatters, please do, if you've got questions for Tana, get them in the YouTube chat. We're also going to be playing Stake Study Stack with Tana at the end of the show. So I'd love to get some suggestions of poker players or Rungood people that we can kind of really put Tana in a very uncomfortable position with Stake Study Stack later in the show. We're also going to give away some fantastic prizes at the end of the show as part of a food bank raffle that's brought to you by Ramp Poker. But all you have to do is just stick around, type some stuff in the chat later, and you're going to win some fantastic prizes. I believe this week we're giving away a month of premium membership at the Poker Forge from Sky Matsuhashi. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of that offer and stick around. All right. We're going to get into some of the questions here that I'm really looking forward to this one, Tana. We've got some good questions. We thought about this one in advance. And you're in a very interesting position in the poker world. So I'm going to see how these unfold. But Lorianne, why don't you kick us off and we'll get started?
I'll get started. But more importantly, I got to ask, why
Gotta
7
ask.
deuce? I know you were holding that up. That's what I do. I got to know when people have interesting hands. I have to know before we get to the nitty gritty of everything. Why 7 deuce? And is it offsuit or suited?
Great question, and I would say it doesn't matter to me. Offsuit, suited. The reason I love it so much is my first ever really truly big stream I ever played on was called Friday Night Poker. It was when PokerGo was first launching their initiative to put poker onto Facebook Live. Years and years ago, and I remember this was a stake. I think it was like 10-20. Something I don't play often. So everyone, I had Ellie Lesra on my right, I had Matt Stout on my left. And the only thing I do recall is they told me that, hey, you can basically everyone will pay you like $100 if you win with deuce 7, the deuce 7 game. And I remember that night, I got dealt deuce 7 like 7 times. And the only thing I recall is I lost money with like queens, kings, jacks, every pair possible. And I still won money because of the deuce 7 game. So from there on forward, 7 deuce was my favorite hand. And I also love the mixed game triple draw. But that's the original reason. Friday Night Poker, the only way I could win money during that stream was playing the deuce 7 game.
Nice.
Okay, then.
You may explain your poker nemesis of always losing pots wearing.
Yeah.
I got that one figured out there. So
7 deuce. Okay. Noted. No, thank you for that. Now, getting to the nitty gritty of everything, we'll start out with I guess the reason why you're here, and tell us about for people that don't know, why start a poker tour?
Yeah. That's a big question. I one day at some point I wish I'll have a very designed and polished answer. But the one I currently use or currently have is why not? It was one of those moments where when I launched this clothing company called Rungood, backpack full of shirts, just going out there and just trying to create the next Adidas for soccer or Nike for basketball situation for poker. And it was very non-intentional of what ended up happening. And, next thing I know is, the apparel's going around the community and I'm getting people excited about Rungood and the apparel that we're making. And then I just get a call out of the blue from a casino, downstream casino, Joplin, Missouri. And the guy's like, hey, you want a headline? I see your gear all around. I see Rungood. Would you like to headline a poker tournament? And I was like, at the time, I was like, maybe like early 20s, mid 20s. And I probably should ask more questions, but knowing just me at the time, I was like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a great idea. Not understanding the amount of work and details and all that stuff behind the scenes that goes into it. But because of that event, and it just was one of the funnest things I ever did, and just getting to see everybody who had touched Rungood at some point or supported Rungood came out and participated and hyped it up on their own social media and talked about it. And I remember Chad Holloway wrote a big article for us in Poker News, and this was when Chad was just a live reporter. It really meant a lot at the time that I didn't realize what was happening was how incredible of a feeling it was to have all these people come together just under one kind of banner, which was Rungood at the time. And of course, with anything, when you have that feel good sensation, you're like, let's run it back. Let's just do it again. And next thing I know, we are, getting calls from different places, and I'm working with different people. And there's a whole different long story about how we got into some of these places. But to answer your question, why start a poker tour? Because it just feels really, really freaking good when everybody shows up and comes hangs out.
I love it. And actually, you kind of, in an offbeat way, you kind of helped segue into the next part of it was kind of a two-part question, but what are some of the hidden challenges of running a poker tour that outsiders or those of us basically that just sit down and play may not expect? Some of the, are you able to give some of the background where you said it was more than you thought it would be and what goes on a little behind the scenes for those of us basically on the outside looking in?
For sure. No, there is like a ton of work, right? Like when the event happens and it starts, that's like in a sense, right? You're pushing the boat into water and you're hoping it doesn't sink. And it's that moment where you feel all the pride and joy and excitement of like, you're breaking a champagne bottle on the boat and it's off into the wild, and everybody gets to enjoy it, and hopefully you don't hit an iceberg. But behind the scenes, right? It's the sweat, the blood, the tears, and the work that goes behind, whether it's structures, contracts, marketing, artwork, and more importantly too, it's just like it's building something each season, because we do it so uniquely, right? We change our themes every season that people want to keep coming back for, and we want to give everyone new experiences and new promotions and new things to keep their love of the game inspired and invigorated, but also at the same time keep that competitive edge with different sponsors coming in, and like the Player of the Year race with the Hendon Mob, where we've had Club WT Gold come in for prizes with our leaderboard. So many different aspects that we like to intermix into what we're doing on such a recreational level. So that's only another part of the behind the scenes part of the tour. But also my favorite part is actually trying to make it profitable, where the way we gamble and we party and we drink. My saying is to the crew is always like, as long as we have enough to pay the bar tab at the end of the tour, we're good. So, with that, I would say, right, those are the biggest things that are the challenges of a poker tour. But for anyone wanting to get into it, right, it's all about understanding casinos as well, and getting behind the scenes knowledge of how every department works, from the hotel to the slot floor, the pit, the poker room. Because at the end of the day, right, you want to get all those people involved, because when those departments view poker as an equal, or view it as a part of the gambling world as a whole, more cool things happen. And a lot of the properties we go to have really embraced that, and I can't say enough about the places that we get to go to, how much they love poker and encourage poker and want poker to grow. And they see the value in poker. And back in the day, it wasn't always the case. Poker would kind of get shoved into the corner, and you'd always have to ask a slot attendant, like, "Where's the poker room?" Now, it's everyone's like, "Yeah, poker. I like. Are you here for Rungood? Are you here for the circuit? Are you here for WPT?" So it's getting everybody involved once we're on property is one of the biggest and most rewarding tasks over the years that I've learned.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested about that, because you've you started Rungood, and that took a certain skill set and a certain set of resources, and then you grew it into this fantastic monumental entity that it is right now. Can you talk about what were some of the moments of stress, or some of the moments where you were like, I'm taking on a big risk here, this could screw the whole thing up, like as you scaled it up and as you got more ambitious and turned it into something bigger? What were some of the moments along the way that made you kind of like wonder, am I doing the right thing here?
No, there's always going to be doubts, and I think, right, like that's the beauty of anything that we do in life, is like you're going to have fears, and you're going to have moments where you're just like, can I actually do this, or am I capable enough, or is this worth doing? And the biggest thing, right, is the old saying, I'm going to butcher this on stream, but the courage isn't about doing things that are scary. It's doing things even though you are scared. And one of the biggest moments as I kind of grew and scaled is, there's moments where, I always have this secret fear of, having that 5-year-old birthday party and nobody shows up, right? Like going down to the registration desk, 5 minutes before the tournament starts, and there's like, 2 people, albeit that's never really happened. But, at the end of the day, right, you want to create something that people love so much, and that they're going to be there. And, to that point, right, when COVID happened, obviously a lot of stuff was incredibly difficult to do with poker, and because of how much social interaction was involved in tournaments and cash games and all that stuff. And I do remember, right, and always give a shout out to Haley Hochstetler, who was with me during that time, of how much we traveled around the country talking to poker managers, director of operations, GMs, and just getting anyone to listen, to bring back poker. And we, we're always in that fight. I don't want to say fight, I should say. I would say we were always in that discussion of trying to explain to them, as much as you want to take the poker tables out of that room and put slot machines, please don't. There's a lot of value that is here. And when you see poker click back on, you're going to see the people show up and come back. So that was like a big moment of, is poker actually going to survive? And of course, as you guys all know, it absolutely did. And RecPoker was a huge part of that. When we first came back to Horseshoe Council Bluffs, you guys showed up in droves. Amazing feeling getting to see you guys come in, and we had a line all the way out to the security door, which was incredible. Albeit we had also a line for alternates, but I think at the time nobody cared because poker's back. Like, we did it. We got them to run a tournament. But there's always going to be other moments, and I will also say this, and this is me just being as transparent as possible. Like, overlays happen as well. It's never a good feeling. But I also know, right, as you continue to push the envelope and you want to do bigger and better things, you're going to have to take chances. And, those moments are always scary, but I think, right, the beauty of it is, like, every partner that we have for a venue or a casino, or an operator, I should say, even, is, they believe in what we're doing, and they believe in the product, and they believe in the excitement. And because not only do we work with the poker room department, we're working with the casino hosts, we're working with the marketing department, we're working with the hotel side, the F&B side. Everybody sees the value of what poker brings, even if there is an overlay. So, I guess long story short, there's a ton of fears, and there's always going to be a ton of fears to anything you do that it involves, just hoping people show up. And I can tell you one thing is, you can't have highs if you don't have lows. So even if you have the fears that no one's going to show up and they all show up, it's going to feel twice as good. So to anyone who's listening, gamble, screw it. Just do it and see what happens.
Yeah, I love it. And try, right? Like, we talk about that here on the show all the time. Like how we ask our guests, like, how have you made your mark on the poker industry? And it's like by doing it, by getting out there and doing it, and like displaying value and like helping people, and people notice, and then all of a sudden you have a role, and now all of a sudden you have a job. And that's kind of, it doesn't work if you don't start. Take that leap and go put yourself out there. I know we've got a couple questions coming up, but you mentioned the overlay. I want to just jump in here for a quick segue. So it's a run good event. You're playing, there's a specific local casino that's hosting the event. Like, who puts up the prize money? Like when it comes to an overlay or something, it's like a guarantee that you may or may not make. There's all this, you hear about these casinos that like have guarantees and then they renege on them because they don't get enough players. What's your take on that? Like, what does it mean to have a guarantee? And sure. and what happens in the case of an overlay? Like, who's on the hook for that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's like, I think over the years, or I guess over the decade I've been in the industry, there's been so many weird combinations of how to describe a prize pool, and whether it's a guarantee, an estimated prize pool, so many asterisks. And and like I'm a big proponent of always, when you say you have a guarantee, right? That's you're pushing for it. Unless there's like we do have disclaimers. I always say is that if a tornado hits or there's like an avalanche, I mean, everybody needs just understand that stuff does happen. Yeah, acts of God does occur. But I would say, right, like my job is to encourage properties or casinos or venues to push those guarantees. And they're the ones that are actually on the hook. But in a sense, right, I'm championing the fact that we have a community and we have a exciting product that people want to show up for to support. Not only I wouldn't say they support the guarantee, but support the product of the guarantee is just there to tell people like people are going to show up and we're going to have a great time. And there's so many debates and rooms and phone calls and Zoom meetings I've been in about what's the correct guarantee or how do we want to handle it. And what I've come to learn at the end of the day, right? Like as I think we've all witnessed the Coke versus Pepsi battle that's occurred in December with WPT and WSOP, and who has the bigger guarantee and all that stuff. And it is absolutely fascinating. But at the end of the day, right, like I think what people, or at least what I've come to realize or believe in, is that when you just have a really good product and a really good community, and your center focus is on the fun of the game, and the excitement of the game, and making sure people are seen and celebrated, then really the guarantee is just such a minor factor in all of the grand scheme of things. And that's what I tell venues. It's not what you put out there. It's what you deliver as an experience. And I don't know if that, hopefully that answered your question, but I luckily I'm not on the hook, but I will say that I still feel like every casino that we work with, we want everyone to win and we want everyone to have a good time. And I've always kind of said this or preached it to my team, is that poker is a net zero sum game, right? So there's going to be someone that wins, there's somebody that loses, but at the end of the day, what we can control is how great of a time they have. And not to get too on the tangent, but just so this makes sense for everyone at home and why my mindset is where it's at, is I used to work in the NBA and I used to work for the LA Clippers when they were atrocious. Like I couldn't give away tickets at a gas station. Like I had to pay people to take tickets. They were like 0 and like 47. But the one thing I remember, and I remember one of the season ticket holders came up to me and told me, just how thankful and how much fun he had this season. And I was like, are you sure? Like, were you watching the basketball game? Because I'm pretty sure we're 0 and 47, but that's cool. But he's like, no, like I hopefully you get it. Like you don't understand. Like I get to spend time with my son at these games for like 3 uninterrupted hours of just being part of something bigger. And regardless what happens on the court, it's it's the giveaways, the halftime show, the pre-show, the warm-ups, like the whole. There's so much more that goes into an NBA game than just what happens on the court. And I think that's the same thing for poker, is keeping that philosophy, is that there's a lot of other things where you can have a player experience something more than just winning. And that's what we bring to the table. And that's always kind of what Rungood's been.
Nice. Great answer. Joe, you had a follow-up, and then John.
Yeah. So I've run events myself and started them from scratch. I don't want to get into the details, but what I have found often is that it's not really the starting them that's the hard part. You can usually get even, casinos and hotels to kind of help you out a little bit. But the minute that you start getting big, then suddenly the hands come out and everybody wants, everybody's like, well, that was great what you did last week, but now you got to do something better. So it's actually harder to maintain something for a period of time rather than to actually decrease it. And if I'm aware of your poker tour, you're big enough that, that you're something. And so how are you maintaining Rungood in the face of your own popularity, keeping it above water in terms of what you did previously, but also facing people who are finally saying, yeah, well, you're pretty big now, so we can take a bigger cut and still pay off that bar tab, which is not a good idea, by the way. I'm just saying that was never my goal.
No, great question. There's there's really no right or wrong answer to that question, because I think that people have all sorts of different strategies, and there's different tours out there, from the WSP circuit to WPT to MSPT, and we all have our different approaches to how we run events, and how we keep bringing people back. And you're absolutely right. Like, I think when you reach a point of success, right, the bar gets set higher and higher and higher. And as not saying that I was ever like a 5-star recruit, but I do remember when I was like, playing sports as a kid, and growing up, is like, personal records, PRs are what kind of mark your milestones as you kind of progress through your career. And I think the hardest thing is understanding, right, is that at some point you're going to not see as much increase. You're going to eventually plateau. Um, and it's very difficult to see that, but also then how do you break through that? And the hardest part is, like, there's not really a good answer, because it takes a mental toll on you to be putting your 100% effort in, and maybe seeing an increase of 0.01%. But I can tell you one thing, and this is something that I love talking about with my team, in general, is that, you know, it comes from a movie, but it actually hit home a lot for me as well. Is that, despite, right, we're plateaued and we're trying different things, and we're trying to see what the correct mix is. Everybody has their own part to that recipe as well, right? So even if I can only change or increase my performance by 0.1%, right? Somebody else from my team gives another 0.1%. Somebody else from the casino staff gives another 0.1%. And all of a sudden, as tournaments, and you guys have all been to those events, there's, maybe 50, 60 people behind the scenes, right? They all gave 0.1%. All of a sudden, you're past the plateau. Everyone put in that little extra effort, and something's changed, and you've increased it, just by doing your small part just a little bit better. And as you said, right, as you get better, there's more hands and more people to feed. But at the same time, right, like, um, as we've grown and as we scaled, I've learned that as we improve, right, our our way to kind of, like, give back more to our team, and then give back more to the players, is also to expand and bring poker to new places, and develop places that normally don't have strong poker events. So what I've kind of learned over the years is, there's always going to be your major hubs for poker. And they do great jobs, like, obviously, like Borgata up in Atlantic City, or Thunder Valley at Sacramento, Florida, the Seminole Hard Rock. But there's so many other places where poker can thrive and exist already, that it just needs a little bit more guidance to really blossom and grow. And so, while a lot of other tours are kind of going to these bigger places, I love working with some of the smaller places and getting involved and helping them grow on an operational scale on their side, to grow poker even bigger and better. And it allows us then, obviously, to increase our revenue, right, to pay the bar tab. But also at the same time, right, like, the more people that get involved with our brand and our product and our partners for the casinos, right, the bigger marketing power we have. And it's just like, almost like crowdsourcing, is that the more funds we have, and the more marketing dollars are getting put into Rungood through Hard Rock Tulsa, Thunder Valley Sacramento, San Diego Humboldt Casino, it adds up for us to do some really cool stuff. And when we do really cool stuff, it's almost like putting gasoline on a fire, right? And when that fire is burning hot and bright, that's when you get, poker stars coming in and wanting to give more to the player pool, and you get Club WT Gold wanting to get involved. So I'll say, right, like, the saying that I always say to my team, who ends up maybe hearing this interview, is going to roll their eyes, because I say it probably all the time, is fast alone, further together. And that's been the mantra of how you do, things from, the start of everyone giving that extra 0.1%, to getting more properties involved to keep the scalability and growth happening.
Well, so one of the, and this may be, again, if this gets into things you don't want to talk about, certainly fine, but poker is not an industry that, I mean, if you're selling t-shirts, you can sell t-shirts anywhere. But poker tournaments, you can't do that any place. And state law is changing all the time, and different events come in, and sometimes when I look at the poker, I mean, I'm the Debbie Downer of the RecPoker podcast, but sometimes when I look at how poker is growing, it's fits and starts, and everybody's like competing for the same dollar, and you're all just cutting the same pie 16 different ways, and then somebody else takes this piece and then takes that piece, but it's the same pie over and over and over again. How do you see yourself breaking through that with so many of the constraints that you have to deal with, you have absolutely no power over, or any real power over, based on your size?
Sure. No, I think that's a valid point. I think it's a good call out to recognize that, right, as more products emerge and more, tour stops and more people are in this industry, right, that pie of player pool gets divided pretty heavily, and people have more opportunities to go to different places and different companies. And like, I think, right, there's always going to be that moment where things collide. And I think we saw it already where, in December, when WPT and World Series of Poker divided the poker community into two places. And, there's not a good solution to what is happening. I think it's just more of, hopefully, as people continue to be in this industry and grow this industry as operators, just learn to work together and understand that, it's not about trying to destroy each other, but encouraging the community and poker, the game itself, to grow and blossom, and the more people that get involved, right, the bigger that pie is, and everybody can eat. It's not all about what's left. It's more about not fighting over what piece of the pie is mine. It's more about fighting for more ingredients to put into the pie. And if you can grasp your head around that concept, as an operator, you truly see things differently, and you can see things from a point of, every bit counts, from the home games, the bar leagues, the rec poker leagues. I mean, there's so many communities out there that are helping grow the game on a grassroots level, that if we can give support to those communities, right, those are more ingredients to the pie, and then everyone gets to eat. So I guess that would be my answer to that question, is how do we survive, or how do we do it, is we got to focus less about eating and focus more about finding more ingredients.
Well, I will say that eating was the way that I dealt with my own anxieties when I was waiting to see, will people show up? And the other was writing checks saying, well, if I get this check, I can buy all the tickets, and then things like that. For me, you never have to do that.
That's right. Oh, all right. John Somsky, why don't you jump in?
Well, now I'm a little hungry, but I'll ask you a question anyway. So one of the things I've noticed about going to your events, actually I've only been to one, but it was really different than other places I've played in. It seems more like you're getting together. It's a home game with a whole bunch of friends, and the focus is really more on having fun, having the experience, as opposed to being a, cutthroat. I'm trying to squeak out every last cent of EV I can get. Not that they aren't. I'm not saying that players are not playing to win, because I think they are very competitive, but it's in more of a fun atmosphere. How is it that you are bringing that out on your tour? What about your tour makes it like that?
It's funny, and there's a lot of secret ingredients to that recipe of making sure that people have fun. And I will say that, right, our thought is we want to bring individuals and people from the staff point to the casino point that understand the objective and the vibe that we want to bring to this event. And it's understanding the concept that, right, as long as we work together in the goal of making sure people have a great experience, there's a lot of stuff that just happens naturally. um, but I will say, right, we've always made it a point to get people engaged outside of just the poker table as well. And it's small stuff. It's not like, we're not throwing huge, lavish nightclub parties or anything like that. It's getting people, the free giveaway shirts on opening night. It's getting them involved with the theme that we have, whether it's we had a season where we did game 7 where everybody wore a jersey, and it was amazing just to see how many people wore jerseys the entire week. We had one called Old West where everybody wore a cowboy hat. I don't know about you, but I loved the dream of being a cowboy. I grew up in Oklahoma, so let me just give the backstory of that. But getting an excuse to wear a cowboy hat again as an adult, even though I live in a city. And then there's one where we did Destination Rungood where we did it all Hawaiian themed, and we all got to wear button down flower shirts, and we all got laid. We're talking about the necklace lays, but that's what it was. It was getting people engaged not only on a mental level of I'm gonna go play poker because poker is fun, but also I get to do it dressed in a Hawaiian t-shirt. And not only if you feel physically like I'm in this shirt to have fun, it's going to translate into the event as well. So I think that's maybe one of the biggest secret ingredients is having these themes and getting people involved into them. And even the people that don't get involved, if you get enough people just to show up, and we just had Mission Rungood, which was like a spacesuit theme. If you just get enough people to show up in a spacesuit, I mean, fun's gonna happen. I mean, it's pretty hard not to have fun occur if people are dressed up in NASA jumpsuits. So, there's a lot of ingredients and a lot of things that go into making sure that fun happens. But right, I think a big central point or a big spear point of that is the themes that we try to do every year, mixed in with the media, the live reporting, all sorts of different elements where we really want to also showcase, like, even if you're in a $200 turbo event to our biggest main event, our $2,500 entry main event, there's still a level of a big stage feel to it, right? So even the 2,500 event is getting the photography, the live reporting, the rings. The turbo is also getting the photography, the live reporting, the ring. And that's what I think makes us different in a sense, is that we want to celebrate everybody, regardless of what you bought in for.
I love that. John? Oh, you're muted. Yes, we got him. We got him. He got back with the courtesy mute. The courtesy mute. Thank you, John Somsky. Never changed.
With our home games, so our home games are for play money. So I say, if we don't treat it like it's a big deal, like it matters, then who is going to? So it's kind of I like your point.
Yeah. Yeah. You bring the energy to it. You make it important. Even if it's not for, millions of dollars. And I love that, just to jump off on John's point there. Like, I love that you've consistently had low buy-in tournaments that anybody can budget for and plan for. And when you have like large fields like you guys do, like the top prizes are still really big. And so it's a nice function of a game that everybody can play, but still having some really big, exciting prizes there as well. And it's true. You guys throw a party for a week where some poker happens, right? As opposed to like a lot of these other tours, which are just like, there's a lot of poker games. And then maybe on Thursday night, there'll be like a dance party or something. You know what I mean? No, you guys really do bring that fun first atmosphere. So I appreciate that. Speaking of fun first, if you love what we're doing here at RecPoker, we could use your help. Everybody, if you're listening, if you're watching, if you're joining us in any way, You can go to rec.poker/support to find some great ways to help us out. Even just liking this video or subscribing to the podcast or the YouTube channel would be great. And of course, we also have our Patreon platform there, where for $10 a month, you can get audio versions of almost all of our premium videos downloaded right to your phone, like a podcast. That's a great way to help us out. Of course, the best way to help us out is to join our premium membership for $22 a month. You can get your first month for only $5 by using the code podcast at checkout, or like I say, of course, just support a local food bank and send us the receipt. We'll happily give you your first month. We also like to give donations through YouTube. So if anyone wants to help us out with a super chat or a super sticky or a super comment, we do share a portion of all the donations that we receive through YouTube with a local food bank. In the month of January, the local food bank will be Second Harvest Heartland in Minnesota, because we're going to be there in just a few weeks for Rec Poker Weekend at Running Aces, which I'm so excited about. And of course, just like we do every time there, we will be doing a food drive, and we'll be giving out extra chips in the Saturday morning tournament. If you come in with some non-perishable food items, you will get a ticket for some extra chips and a little add-on to help make it more fun and give you a little edge. So yeah, do get involved with all that stuff.
Does the food have to be chips in order to get the chips?
I will look. I'll speak to John Barrows, the excellent director of poker over at Running Aces, and give that a try. All right, so let's get back into it here. But yeah, folks, get those questions in, and we still want some names for a stake study stack. And of course, yeah, please do go to rec.poker/support and find some great ways to help us out. Now, Tana, you have a lot of regular players. You have a lot of fans of the Rungood poker series, and I've in the ones that I've been to, I've seen a lot of the same people at some of the regional stops, and like we kind of stay connected on socials and that kind of thing. I've made some great friends with some of the Rungood regular players. Do you find, because you're at most of these stops, like unless they're in different locations at the same time, do you find that you get a lot of people traveling around the country to join these events? Or is it mostly people that just like they live in Baltimore, and when you go to Baltimore, they join you in Baltimore? Is there like a ratio, or does it depend on where in the country? Speak to that a little.
Yeah, no, there's definitely traveling players, and I absolutely love them. I mean, it's so crazy. I was in Japan. And we were doing our ring event with the Japan Open Poker Tour in Tokyo. And I don't expect anyone to show up from the United States to come to Japan. It was just one of those things where we were collaborating with them for the first time. I think we announced it maybe 2 weeks out. It was like one of those things where we're just kind of like coming together and starting off and trying to work together for the very first time. But I do remember running into a player that normally plays in Horseshoe Tunica, Mississippi, over there. And of course, it's there's that, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And I will say I've experienced that numerous times over the years. And it's not so much about, I don't truly know the ratio of how many traveling players going to different places and joining us along the tour. But I will say that whenever I do get that opportunity and I do see somebody that is from a different regional area coming to a different regional area with us, is the team and I have not, I won't say even been trained, but just have that feeling of being like, oh my gosh, you're here, you're in our house, let's show you a good time. So we always make sure to invite them to stuff, and whether we're going to grab breakfast or lunch or dinner, or there's some sort of outing that we're going to, we want to get people involved, because we want people just to feel comfortable to take that chance and hop on that plane and go to places and go to a different poker community where nobody knows their name, but hopefully by the end of it, a lot of people know your name. And like you kind of said earlier, you understand better than anyone, is you connect maybe in 2 to 3 hands, or maybe 3 hours at a table, and all of a sudden you're friends and you're bantering with each other on social media. And then whenever there's that opportunity arises to meet up and come back, you're connected already and you feel at home. So wherever the Rungood banner is, we want people to feel like, even if it's a new place or a place you've never been to, is that you're still going to feel welcome and invited every time.
And I do have some questions about like the poker scene in Japan. I thought that was so cool that you guys took that leap. But a little closer to home, when you coming to Canada, bro? What's up? Let's get you up here. Well, I'd love to do more of these Rungood events in my own backyard. Are there any plans for a Canadian expansion?
I would love to, and I've been to Canada. I love Canada. I will say, and this is not a brag by any means, but I will say I have not ever cold called the casino for the tour. Everywhere we've gone has been, a traveling dealer has talked about us, or even a live reporter maybe have talked about us, or some sort of media member that had involvement with us talk to somebody, or even the players itself are advocates for Rungood. And the beauty of it all is, I'll wake up one morning, and I'll be drinking coffee, just checking up on emails, and I'll get an email from Japan, or I'll get an email from Florida, or I'll get an email from, Ohio, or somebody DM'd me that, hey, like, you should, I want to connect you with this person, or I want you to talk to this person, or they want to learn more about how to bring a tour stop. And I feel like it's going to happen at one point. We're going to make it to Canada. But I will say, right, I'm a big proponent for the universe, and the universe works in mysterious ways. And when the universe sees that we're ready to go to Canada, something's going to happen. There's going to be some sort of catalyst, and I'll get an email one morning or a DM, and next thing you know, I'll be like, hey Jim, it finally happened, buddy.
Yeah.
I got the call today. And then we'll be up there. So yes, we'll love to. And at some point I'm sure will happen. I don't know when, but I can tell you the timeline is whenever the universe wants us to.
It's open. All right. Well, because you guys would have a freaking blast in Montreal, and the Playground Poker Club is one of my favorite clubs. And like they've had MSPT, Moneymaker, the WSOP circuit. They've really been spreading their wings on bringing in some international tours. So I'll put a word in. We've been talking about doing a rec poker weekend out at Playground forever. This would be a great 1-2 punch. Let's see if we can make it happen. I'd love to see if we could do that. All right.
Yeah,
maybe.
absolutely.
We got some people in the YouTube chat that are pushing for RecPoker Rungood Canada event one of these days soon. We'll work on that. Lorianne, you had a question about the apparel. Let's jump into that one, and then we'll take our last break and start giving away some prizes.
Yes, I'm going to take things back, as they like to say, take it back, way back, basically to your original baby, which is your apparel. And can you tell me, or I'm curious, or not just me, but tell the audience, who designs the Rungood apparel, and how much input do you actually have into that whole process?
Yeah, it's originally it was definitely just me with like a napkin. I'm not by any means an artist, but just trying to create something in poker where for the longest time, I remember when I was in the industry playing online before I started Rungood, is I would get player points to redeem it for full tilt gear. And I remember I had like a bathrobe, and I had like I knocked so and so out, and there was like a donkey on the shirt, and I mean all those throwback good ones. And I do remember, and I don't know if this is like a trauma story or not, and I'm not saying that to put this out here in the public, but already opened Pandora's box. Is like I remember wearing that donkey shirt around college campus, and I just remember getting stared at like, what is that, like, who's that guy? Like, why is he wearing a donkey on his shirt? And it's not so much traumatized, but in my head I was like, man, like how come like we can't make something that like poker players can just wear and be legitimized, that like poker's are like a real game, and like it's actually a real a real sport in the sense of, I want to be I want to have pride in the fact that I'm a poker player. So that's kind of like how Rungood came about, and like some of the designs is like we wanted to keep it very minimal and clean. And we branched out and have done different pieces of whether it's like a shirt with a ship on it for like ship it, or we've done like just maybe like a couple like a an actual football player punting a deck of cards on a shirt. So I would say like we're not like against the fun aspects of the apparel, but on our core line and our staples that we do is we really want it to be obvious to a poker player that hey, that's my group, that's my community, that's my team. And to anyone
So no
outside, it
bathrobe.
just no bathrooms yet. Until I get a call from a bathroom manufacturer, then no.
No bathrobes ever. No.
But yes, no. I mean, it's been all about the designs. It comes from a lot from the team as well, and we have a large list of ambassadors and a group of people that there's always like mantras or jokes or taglines for poker that we want to design not so much into that same concept of a donkey on your shirt, but more of how do we make this look like a true like vintage T-shirt without the just making it look too cartoony, I guess, in a sense. And there's nothing wrong with that kind of stuff. I'm just saying that for Rungood, that's kind of where we really found our beat or our heartbeat is everybody getting involved with the ambassadors, the team, the media team, the my event coordinators, and talking about what people really want. And over the years, I've just kind of been in this direction of trying to keep stuff minimal, and just kind of like clean. And then we'll have offshoots every now and then, but people seem to really enjoy it. And if what they say right in therapy at some point, like you want to protect the kid, 20 years ago. And I was like, hey man, like Tana, I know you're gonna go out in this full tilt poker donkey shirt on college campus, and you're gonna get a lot of people staring at you. But I'm gonna protect you now, and I'm gonna make you wear this Rungood shirt so you can celebrate how much of a poker player you are. So, yeah.
So do you have a group that specifically does that, and they finally run? Or you basically oversee it all, or that whole part? Do they? Is there someone that creates it and you have the final say so, or do you get what I'm asking? Basically,
sure, yeah.
use everything pretty much. Like I said, is there a group that does it and you have the final say so, or are you in on the whole process, like from start to finish of everything? Is it?
Yeah,
you got your toe in the water of the whole process, I guess is the way to ask it.
I do, and it's something I'm actually working on in 2026. Is as we scale and expand, I'm trying to take a little bit more of a backseat on a lot of stuff that's happening. But yeah, we have graphic design artists, we have different team members that have capabilities to create stuff and make stuff. And we actually, it's funny, we just hired a fashion designer, fashion stylist, Alexis, who has been a huge help in us selecting garments and different pieces as well. So, in the whole grand scheme of the process, I am involved to an extent, but my role is just to kind of, at this point in life, is just to put the pieces together and let the talented people do what they do best. And, whether it's somebody who's really good at understanding taking a concept that people talk about at the poker table into a symbol, and then having somebody then take that symbol and actually doing the artwork of it, and then having somebody take the artwork of that and putting it into a digital space that would fit the logistics of screen printing or embroidery or however we're going to make the garment come to life, and then putting it into another person's team of actually going to print with that. And there's a whole different process of I won't try to bore everyone here, but there's a lot of hands into making a t-shirt that not many people realize. And I've had people that I've been working with since 2012. I've had people jump in and out over the years. I've had people that are now just coming in and bringing a whole new perspective and a whole new thought process of how our apparel should look. And there's going to be things that get mixed in with what theme we're doing at the time as well. So if it's the Grand Prix racing theme, or the Mission Rungood space theme, those influence our apparel line as well. So there's a whole bunch of people involved, and hopefully that answered your question a little bit. But I do see it, but my goal is just to make sure that nobody makes a donkey T-shirt at the end of the day.
I love it. I love it. YouTube chat's going crazy. We got so many fun people in here today. Shout out to Chad McVean.
Jim, I think I might have lost you. Is it me or is it?
I think. Are you guys? Can you guys still hear me?
Hold on.
No, I hear you just fine.
Oh, there we go. We're back.
Okay.
We're
All right,
good.
perfect, perfect. That's okay. It's nothing's allowed to go perfectly smoothly here when it comes to the RecPoker podcast. We gotta
makes
make
it
fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Just out of curiosity, are you guys able to hear Jim?
Yes.
Oh,
you are. That's weird. For some reason, I can't hear him.
Okay, maybe producer Rob Gardner can work on that. Can you hear?
Do you hear me?
I do hear you.
I can hear everybody.
And you can hear me, Tana?
Oh,
I can. Yeah.
But not me.
I feel like I'm getting punked by Ashton Kutcher right now. I feel like everyone is like in on it, and we're all just pretending Jim is saying
I just
things.
want to know how to switch my audio settings to have your settings. This is podcast. I didn't have to listen to Jim all the time.
Oh wow!
Oh, brutal!
Damn,
brutal.
John.
All right.
We're and, this is good. Maybe this is a group therapy session. We'll just tell us how you really feel, John.
Yeah, exactly. Go get ready to do it. Someone else tell Tana that I'm just going to speak to YouTube for a second, and then we'll get back into the interview.
He's going to speak to YouTube for a second, and then he'll get back into the interview. Tana.
Got it. Gotcha.
Perfect. So hopefully, and YouTube says they can hear all of us, so that's pretty exciting. I want to just remind people we're going to give away a prize at the end of the show. To enter the raffle, all you need to do is type the words food bank into the YouTube chat. So just type the words food bank in. We like to raise awareness for the fight against food insecurity. It's just a very difficult time in the world for a lot of people that you might not expect. Some folks in your own neighborhood, some folks in your community who might need a little help feeding themselves or their loved ones, their kids. And really a great way for you to make a difference is to just pull out your smartphone right now, Google food banks near me, and you'll find an organization that could really benefit from a few dollars out of your pocket, a few volunteer hours out of your week, or some non-perishable food items from your pantry. So please do help a local food bank, help your fellow neighbor, and just type the words food bank into the YouTube chat, and we're going to draw a winner at the end of the show to get a free month of premium training membership at Sky Matsuhashi's Poker Forge, which is a fantastic training site that we're proud to be affiliated with, along with lots of our other learning partners here at RecPoker. And if you want to learn about more of our learning partners, you should go to rec.poker/partners, and you can find all the other great organizations and coaching sites and training sites that like to help our members improve. Yes, thank you to Michael Miller. Welcome to the show, Michael. 1 hour in, and the only person to punch that like button so far has been me. Come on, people. That's right. It would help us out a lot. All right. Lorianne, why don't you ask a question of Tana, because he can't hear me. And we can, the first one up here will be you, and then maybe you and John can kind of swap off on these questions.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't hear any of that, Tana, huh? We're just double checking. Oh,
yeah.
Man. Okay. This is what happens when you're live. So we're just going to go with it. The next question we had lined up for you is, in your opinion, what makes a venue, quote, good for poker or a poker tour?
I think the biggest thing is if you can have upper management in the casino value poker and see what poker can bring and get behind, creating poker on property, and not only creating it as like having a poker room, but supporting it, doing the promotions and giving back to the players, and having somebody and hiring people in that place that really love poker and want to see it grow. So what makes property that excels for poker is probably the correct answer, or the best answer that I can think of, is having people on site that believe in it and believe in the game or has actually played it. And that's what I think, right? When we kind of were talking earlier and I was saying, I've never really like cold call. It's always been kind of like word of mouth. I think, right, that kind of in a sense way of how we do things at Rungood has allowed us to find those people that really do care about poker and want to see it at their property. And they end up finding us. And it's just kind of one of those things where the universe connects us, and it's like, you like poker? Oh, I like poker. Let's do something about it. And that's kind of how we decide what is a good property to go to.
Oh, cool. Thanks. I like
And
it.
then when you line up an event, how do you evaluate? What is your success criteria when the day is done? I mean, beyond just paying the bar tab, what makes sure that it was a good event?
Yeah. Ooh. It's been a minute since I've truly reflected on like what would make me feel happy of like what is it, and I can tell you one thing, it's not the numbers, it's not the price pool. Something I love doing and I know it's not for everyone, but I love going through the photo galleries that our team takes while we're on site and just seeing the different faces and different people and the emotions and the excitement that everybody's having at the tables and the ring photo winner, and how many people are climbing in to get in that ring winner photo. If there isn't one ring event where there's not like a group of people or even like, somebody's buddy who's in that photo, then I would say that event was not successful. What makes it is successful is that people are celebrating other people when they win stuff at poker. And that's what I love seeing. So for me, visually, a successful event is seeing all these photos of people laughing, smiling, cheering, getting excited, getting involved, getting engaged in not only the table and what's happening at the poker table, poker game, but also the promotions that we're doing and the fun themes that we're doing. If we run a Old West cowboy theme, if there's not one cowboy hat in the mix, I'm probably gonna be very sad at the end of the day. So that's what I would say is as long as I can have people that are showing up to these events and getting engaged with what we're trying to do and the theme that we're doing and getting excited to wear even the giveaway shirt that we give on opening night, that's what is success to me is that we've truly done our job as a company of player experience to make people feel excited about coming and then also hopefully coming back in the future.
Lorianne,
Okay, we're
jump on in
ready.
there.
Gonna wind it up. This next question, Tana, is actually from one of our viewers. Sent it in from Diana in the chat, and her question was: do you have any advice for someone heading to their first Rungood series?
I love that, and I hope you say hi.
Mhm.
And I would say, right, your first time in a Run Good series is, or hopefully it's not your first time in a poker tournament, but it's your first time in a Run Good poker series. Meet everybody, meet the photographer, meet the live reporter, meet the event coordinator, meet the merch person. Um, Everybody's excited to see you there. Everybody wants to talk to you, and if you have any questions and you want to learn about where to find your photo that's getting taken, or where to find your results, or even download the Run Good app. So a really cool thing that we've been doing for the past, I think, 2 years now is we've built an app that actually encourages people not only to track their adventures with Run Good. You can actually, when you cash an event, you get a profile page on our stats page in the app. And in that app, there's different badges where you have different achievements of, you've cashed in 4 different states, or you've cashed for X amount, or you've experienced, some sort of engagement piece that we've had for the season theme. This year for Passport, our Passport season, Run Good Passport for 2026 is now when you go to a tour stop, there's a section in the app where you can actually scan a QR code and you get a stamp into your digital passport. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet with it, but I can tell you one thing is we always love giving back and doing promotions. And the more you can engage with all the different things that we have on site, especially with the app as well, the more opportunities you have to just get fun, cool, free stuff. But that's what I would say is talk to people, don't be intimidated, and definitely take advantage of all the tools that we have to make your experience better um, while you're playing poker.
We have another YouTube question about your upcoming Passport season as well. Run Good introduces 1 or 2 new poker tournaments to the existing schedule each season. Are there any individual tournament concepts being introduced in this new Passport season?
Yeah, I would say a big one that we kind of dabbled a little bit during the Grand Prix season was the Big Bounty event, and we are going to be implementing that into our ambassador bounty this upcoming season at Hard Rock Tulsa specifically as well. Our first one starting January 20th is we normally have ambassadors that come to run good stops, and they're also amazing people to reach out to and talk to, and they'll have all the knowledge of different promotions that we're running as well. But they'll also have envelopes that contain mysterious prizes from $1,000 cash to run good apparel. You don't know what's in the envelopes, but the big bet bounty as well. What ends up happening is you'll make it into the money, and then basically half of that prize pool then becomes bounties. So now if you're playing let's say a $250 event, each person you knock out while in the money is an $800 bonus. So all of a sudden, it's even, more stakes are higher to knock people out. So there's like fun little aspects we do that. We did also one in Tunica where we kind of dabbled a little bit with the TDA rules, and Matt Savage is going to hate me for this because that is his gospel. And I do believe in the TDA and everything they're doing, and they're doing amazing things to keep poker on the right train tracks. But we had it where it was just the idea from our tournament director, Mike Murphy and Daniel Higginbotham down at Tunica, and they wanted to bring back table talk to tournaments again and allow people. I wanted to say like truly create like angle spots, but at the same time, really talk again and like try to get natural tells for people. And obviously, we wanted to make it sure it was in like an environment where we could make sure that it was safe and fun and friendly. But just being able to kind of have that old school table talk again, the Jamie Gold days. Was very interesting, and people really took advantage of it and had a lot of fun where they were talking to people about hands and asking them questions and trying to get physical tells and reads. So we're hopefully going to bring that back and hopefully implementing it at different places as well that want to allow it. But I think a big thing, right? Even if we don't have new events at certain places, the theme changes, the opening night T-shirts change, the rings change every season. So there's always something new that's happening, um, regardless of what's happening on the structure sheet. But that's where the excitement comes from our tour, is that because we're not technically the corporate owned or basically have investors, it's just kind of like in a weird way it's me, and if you give me a really good idea, and I give you a thumbs up, we're running with it, we're rolling with it, and we're going to try it. And it allows us to be adaptable, flexible, and kind of like push the envelope on things. And so far it's worked out well, and I'm sure at some point we're going to have some crazy ludicrous idea that everyone's gonna be like, why on earth did Rungood ever try to run that? And
So-
when it does,
Go ahead.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, so table talk, not speech play. Or is there going to be a fine line in there, or are you just going to just run with it?
it's I think it was like a little bit of both, right? Like we definitely saw people kind of like dabbling in it, and everyone was pretty respectful, not to get like crazy out of line with it, and truly try to like no one was like flipping their hand over and declaring nuts when it was like not the nuts, nothing like that in that sense. But I would say, right, people were definitely making fun jokes and really trying to get people a little bit off their game. So it was fun to experience that. But I mean, I'm sure we'll have at one point we did this got I think this is going to be probably shut down, but I feel like we're in a safe space. So I'm going to tell you this tournament idea that we had. I'm good friends with Boston Rob and Tyson Apostol from Survivor, and we really wanted to run something where you actually got to vote people off the tournament. And depending on where you had for your chip stack or however you ended up running it, your vote mattered more than other people's votes. But right, if for some reason you're the big stack and you keep raising every hand and you piss off everybody in the tournament, they're gonna gather together and vote you off the tournament, and then you're out. So I don't know if that's actually gonna happen, but that's the idea, is that there's nothing nothing that we can't do. We just have to make sure it makes sense. But hopefully, if people here in chat or in general want to come to us with ideas of some variants, like we're all about it. And if we can find a place that will take a chance on doing it, then we'll do it.
Okay. Well, since unfortunately you cannot hear Jim, I get to be the Debbie Downer in this and ask so we're talking about all this fun stuff that you're doing, but in a more just kind of ask a serious question here for a moment. And do you expect the new tax law to change anything for your regular players? Told you it was kind of a Debbie Downer.
No, for sure. But I think, right, it's important to address, and I think it's important to, discuss and talk about it. It's a big part of, the industry as a whole, from, the top down, right? Everyone's going to feel the effect of it. And there's different interpretations I've kind of read of how that would occur. And, what I will say, right, like that new law is going to affect a lot more of the high rollers, because of the volume base that they're putting in and the gap that 10% is going to be. For our player pool, a lot of our main events cap at 600 to 800 to 1100, and of course our one big event, which is the finale, at 2500. But the majority of our events are in the 400 and below. So I would say it's not going to be as impactful of a detriment to our player pool and our kind of business model. But I would say, right, like I still want to join the fight. I mean, I feel like it's something where how does that math make sense? Like why would we ever have to, I mean, not to get too political in this landscape, but like in just in general, like, why are we paying tax on something we love to do? And if it's 90%, we can only write off what we lose 90% of the time. How does that make sense for the 10% of the time that we're making it and we're getting taxed more on it? So it's a really weird rule or law, I should say. And I'm not incredibly familiar of the ins and outs of it yet, because it hasn't gone through a full year of the tax season and all that stuff. But everything I've come to understand of it, talking to other players and other operators, it does suck, but it's going to affect probably more of your higher volume, higher buy-in players more than ever. So I would say yes, it may have an effect on us, but I also know that our product is geared more towards the fun aspect of it rather than the buy-ins. And with that knowledge, that 10% isn't as big of a tax on our player pool.
All right, John, last YouTube question. Jump in there, boss.
Thanks for that.
All right, we have one more question from Chad McBean on YouTube. Are there ways to qualify online for Rungood events?
There is. So I do know we've had a long-standing partnership with Club GG, where you can win seats to Rungood events when you play through their platform. We're working stuff out with other online providers. I know a big thing that we're doing for 2026 is we're going to be part of the MGM family. We have a National Harbor stop now. We've moved into Borgata as well. So BetMGM has a platform that allows satellite players to come play events as well up there in the Northeast. Club WT Gold is always one of those platforms that has grown and kind of spread throughout the United States as well. So I think the big thing for us is, because we're not owned by a brick and mortar casino or a specific entity, it allows us to really work with different platforms and different things. And our end goal, right, is trying to make sure that the players have every opportunity to come participate in the experiences and the events that we run. So hopefully you're going to see ways to punch your ticket to Rungood more often on all these online operators, and hopefully many, many more in the future once finally we can say online poker is very safe, friendly, and we can welcome it back in the United States.
That'd be amazing. Tana, we need a tournament format where all the top prizes are $1 less than a WTG submission, like satellite style. Might take off. We got 2 more quick questions for you, and then we'll get you out of here. And we're going to do some family business, some giveaways and whatnot that you don't have to stick around for. The first one, and I apologize for this. This is from Jim's Evil Mind. If you only could do one for the rest of your life, and you could not do the other, poker or buffalo slots? Oh, this came from Lorianne. You had to get rid of one.
I'm taking credit for that. That was me. It's my
bad.
mind.
My bad.
Lorianne, man, I thought we were vibing, we were friends, and then you're just making me you're just asking me who my favorite child is on stream.
We are friends, that's why I gotta know. No.
It's a great question. My heart will always say poker, but my brain and my dopamine levels will always say buffalo slots. And it's not because one is better than the other. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. I think it's just more at the time and space where I am as a person, and as a dad. My time, I just can't unfortunately dedicate as much time to being at the tables as much as I used to as a kid. Hopefully when I retire, that will all change. But those days where you grind 12 hours and you fall asleep on the Bally's hotel floor with a group of 10 guys in the room, and then you wake up the next day and rinse and repeat. Those days are just not for me anymore. So the way at least I get my quick fix for gambling and the fun aspect of hunting buffalo is buffalo slots nowadays, which I'm sure if anyone follows me online, you'll see a bunch of things that I participate in for slot machines, and it's a fun part. Yes, yeah.
You have not lived until you've joined Tana on a buffalo run. I can say
there's like 20 variants
here.
of buffalo slots now. Do you have a personal favorite?
Ooh, I will always have a fondness for Buffalo Link, and there's a long story behind it. And if anybody wants to learn more about it, there's a video of an interview of me talking about why I love Buffalo Link. But there was a moment in Atlantic City where me and a buddy, Gary Gates, we had our backs against the wall, right? We came in with high hopes. Atlantic City was not ready for us, when in fact it was ready for us. And we got our bankrolls, and we went through the gauntlet. We played baccarat, blackjack, ultimate Texas Hold'em, craps, and it cleaned us out. And we were leaving the casino, and he looks at me, I looked at him, and we already knew what we were going to say to each other. And he says, I think I can get 1K out. And I was like, I think I can too. So we get 1K each out. We have a 2K bankroll again. And we come to the point of the night where none of us are making mathematical decisions anymore. So all the table games are out the door, and we go straight to the lights and flashing lights, and we drop in the slot machines, and we end up finding Buffalo Link. And I've had a couple of poker player friends who have told me about this like magical way to like hunt specific machines and some things that you look for to see if it's going to pay out. And I just remember that moment of hitting the grand jackpot on a Buffalo Link machine in Atlantic City at 5 a.m. The only reason I knew it was 5 a.m. because all the breakfast specials were live. And I just remember the old joke or the old saying earlier in this stream was you can't have highs if you don't have lows. So at our lowest point, where I was like Atlantic City is not for me anymore, and we hit the grand for like 20 grand at the Buffalo Link machine, and I was like, I think I kind of like Atlantic City. So Buffalo Link will always have a special place in my heart because of that moment that I shared with my good friend Gary Gates.
Very cool.
A quick RecPoker disclaimer: don't try this at home, folks. I'm just put that out there. No?
Absolutely no. That's what, and Laura, that's a good point. And I always like to tell this to people. And I know I have a ton of stuff on my social media, and
oh no, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I will say this, right? Like, there's definitely been some lows, and I'm not going to skirt around the fact that you can get into some plays that you just absolutely regret. And I don't know how much time we have, so I'll make this real quick. We're at Thunder Valley with Alan Kessler. Everybody loves a good Alan Kessler story. Slot savant, and he's playing this machine that you can buy the feature in, and he buys the feature and he wins the $1 million jackpot, the $1.2 million jackpot, because he's chasing this like play on this machine. And we're all excited for him. And then he tells me, and I think Joe Stapleton at the time, who was at the tour stop with me, being like, "Hey, like, I think I'm done. I've been trying to get this play for 6 hours now, and obviously hit 1.2 million." So he's like, doesn't care about the play anymore. And so, you know, the play was you could buy the feature for $150 each time. Um, it does seem like a lot, but like when you buy the feature, right, you're guaranteed a bonus and then you get some sort of money back. You might make more money, you might make less money. So it's like kind of like playing video pokers where you kind of go up and down a lot. And I remember it was me, Justin Hammer, Joe Stapleton, and TJ Reid, who just won the $3 million at Deuce Paradise. So shout out to my boy TJ. But it was us four. And Alan's like, "Hey, sit down. This is a play. You got to do it." And, we're putting money in, maybe thinking maybe like, this might be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours max. We started at 9 o'clock on Friday night. And we did not hit the play until Sunday around 7 a.m. We took shifts pushing this button. It still haunts me to this day of that feature, buying the feature sound. And I remember at the end of it, at one point we were stuck 7K total in this machine. And we were thinking there's no hope in sight, but at the same point, we're in too deep. Like we've been here for longer than 24 hours. We just got to see it through.
Committed.
Pod committed, and we finally hit it. And we each, I think, I don't remember the exact number that we hit, but I remember us each pocketing $200 in profit. So, let that be a warning to anyone who thinks that that's easy money. It's not easy money. There's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows, there's a lot of variance. Just like poker, it's just a very turbo version. So gamble responsibly, learn about the machines, and have fun with it, right? Obviously, if you're gonna gamble, use money that that you can have fun with it and you're okay with losing. So, but yes, that was the first time I've ever regretted playing a slot machine. And hopefully no one has to experience that due to this warning message story that we have on Rec Poker tonight.
We're sitting here laughing at your utter misery over that. Oh my god, that wasn't. That's not even a min cash. Like in poker terms, like oh my, the ROI that sucked. No.
Yeah, but
the memory,
this is
the memory is.
You got the memories. That's right. That's right.
This is the legend of Tana Karn, because even when he's losing, he's winning, right? Like even his losing stories are winning. Speaking of losing, it's time for our segment, Stake, Study, Stack, the game you can't win because you get the impossible choice. We talked about it a little bit in the green room. We're going to give you 3 names. You have to pick one that you would like to stake, put in a poker tournament, one you'd like to stack if they were at the table with you, and one you'd be willing to study with. Stake, Study, Stack. And your 3 names are Tyson Apostol, Poppa Karn, and tournament director Mike Murphy.
Oh man. Gosh, this is the scenario of like favorite children again.
And there's no pass.
I will say this, and Pops will agree if he's listening at home, is that I would love to stack him because that's an extra Thanksgiving story meal. That's an extra Christmas story meal. That's an extra birthday story meal. Hey Dad, you remember that one time I stacked you in this hand? And the best part about it is he would do the absolute same to me. Every holiday he got the opportunity to bring up that story. So definitely could say Poppa Karn. I definitely would never study with Tyson Apostol. So he's too big of a degenerate. And I feel like we would just get so fed up reading proper hand histories that we would have to find a Buffalo slot machine immediately. Because usually when me and him are together, we gamble a lot. And I've seen some magical stories, and I'm not going to go into more slot stories, and we can save that for another podcast. But he's seen some things, and we've been through some things, and studying is not his forte. So I would stake him because I know when you stake somebody, and I don't know if this is the correct way to think about it, but when you stake somebody, you want to stake somebody that's not afraid to 3-barrel bluff. you want to stake somebody who has that gamble in them, has that no fear mentality to basically say, this is me, I'm going for it. And those people tend to be not only successful on the field but also off the field. So Tyson is one of those guys where, he could literally have the nuts or 7 deuce. And he's gonna flip it over regardless, because he knows that even if he wins the hand or loses the hand, he has me to go play Buffalo slots with him later. So that's probably why I would say stake Tyson, and then of course Mike Murphy I would study with, because he's actually an incredible poker player, and not only he's around it every day and he's breaking tables and talking to players. His own track record. He has a really fun Facebook group, and you can follow his tournament play as well. And he's won events. He's cashed a ton of events, and in a sense, he is also a very big grinder for the game. And if anyone was actually really a person I want to study with, it'd be trying to take a page out of his book and learn a little bit more about some of the strategy that he has, because he gets to see it so much live through just being around live tables all the time that you can pick up a lot of stuff that normally you can't from a textbook or a GTO chart.
Very cool. Excellent answers. I know Jim would, if he could, thank you tremendously for joining us tonight, being a wonderful guest. Tana, I'm looking forward to seeing you here in 2 weeks, buddy. It's time for, it's been too long. It's been too long. So we'll have to do one of those Buffalo runs here in Tulsa in 2 weeks. And if you're out there, you're in the Tulsa area, or even if you're not and you can make it out there, head over to rungood.com and check it out. We'll be there. It's going to be a real good time. And will we have 13 venues this spring? 13, 14? I've lost count.
17, actually.
Oh my God. Yeah. I just undersold it. I'm so fired.
No, you're good. No, it's I'm actually surprised. I was actually on a call today with Alexis, and she was trying to get me hyped up for the season, because of she looked at last year's season to this year's. Last year we had 12 stops. This time we have 17 in just one season, which is that's an extra 5 weeks on our already very small window before the World Series of Poker starts. And I told her this, and I'm not going to celebrate anything until we get through it, because I know there's going to be a lot of moments where I have to fade the fact that no one's going to show up, and I'm going to have to sit there and and buy people in. Just kidding. If you're just now tuning in, that was a callback to an earlier joke. Would never do that. But I would say this, right? There's a lot more opportunities for us to fail, but also a lot more opportunities for us to succeed. So really excited about the next season.
Go ahead, Lorianne. She had one more last quick question for you.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Because I was curious when you said it, you mentioned the numbers, 12 last season and then 17 this season. Can you tell us how much you've grown since your very first season? How many stops did you have in your very first season? I'm curious.
Yeah, no, our very first season was 2. It was Downstream Casino and Hard Rock Tulsa. And it's funny because we weren't even supposed to have 2. We just got very lucky where we had this event at Downstream Casino, and there's about an hour and a half drive between the 2 properties. And I remember this is when we still had answering machines. I don't know if that dates us back a little bit more, but I remember going into the office and hitting play on our office answering machine, and it was a poker manager at Hard Rock Tulsa saying, "Hey, I heard about you guys at Downstream Casino. Would you like to have a meeting?" And lo and behold, that became our second stop. There's a lot of other hijinks that happened between 2 stops to the 17 that we've had. And that's probably a much longer conversation than what you guys have for tonight. But, there's definitely, I've been very lucky, very blessed, and very thankful to the universe for, putting people together in all sorts of different ways.
Well, congratulations. I mean, that's great to go from 2 and now this year's 17. That's awesome. And Jim is giving it a thumbs up too. Yeah. I'm sorry, 2 thumbs up.
Tana, thank you again so much for your time, your generosity with us, and maybe we do a schedule rollout next summer and get people hyped for the fall season.
Fun idea.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, whenever you guys want me, I love talking to people, but obviously love talking to you guys. So Hopefully we can do this again very soon.
And
All right,
you
buddy,
can
we'll take
pretend
care.
you
Thank you
can't
again.
hear Jim next time to avoid
Yeah,
that.
really improve your experience.
I'm actually I'm gonna bring my burner phone that I use only for my bookie. Just kidding, I don't actually have a bookie, but I'll just use it for Jim, and he can
Nice.
I just can't believe
call
none
me
of
for me.
us thought of that
Nice.
before now. It's like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
All right. Thanks, Tana. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you,
He can't hear
Tana.
me, but you guys will pass it
Awesome.
on.
Well, thanks everyone. I'm gonna head out, but appreciate the time
you.
as always. Take care,
Take
y'all.
care. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I knew that was going to be a fun interview. I love doing these things live. You never know what weird, technical issue is going to pop up. He couldn't hear one of the panelists. That's super weird. Sometimes I can't hear the opening music, and we have to do a little dance party to let us know how things are going. So it's just one of the perks of the RecPoker podcast, taking it live here on YouTube every Monday night. So we're going to give away a fantastic prize here. We're going to announce some home game results. Rob Gardner, you also have a very exciting announcement. When do you want to do that, before the home game results or after?
Yeah, we can do it now. These were our stats for 2024. It's crazy to believe that we've been doing the scoreboard for 18 months now.
Yeah, and just for audio listeners. So we've just got a screen up here, the RecPoker scoreboard showing the results through 2024, cashes, final tables, podiums, and wins. And we're about to get into some of the details for 2025. So yeah, sorry, Rob, run with it, baby.
Yeah, people have been so annoyed with AI. I had to ask AI how many calories worth of Twinkies the RecPoker community won, and it was 553 million calories worth of Twinkies that the premium membership cashed for. But that comes out to an official total of $1.283 million that just our premium members cashed for in 2025. 914 final tables, 430 podiums, and 191 wins.
Wow.
And I got news for you folks. We're going to beat those numbers next year.
Whew. This is so cool. Like keep this graphic up for a sec. Yeah, right. But no, this is amazing. And I want to just point out that these are RecPoker premium members. We don't have that many RecPoker premium members. We're still kind of like a fledgling organization here. But look at this. 914 final tables in the year 2025. And of those, you would expect that roughly a third of them would make a top 3 finish. But we've actually got almost half of our final tables have resulted in podiums, which means that our players are exceeding the expectation for finishing at a final table. They're doing even better than that. And then when you look at the number of podiums, it's 430. You'd think that roughly a third of those would go on to be wins, but it's not. It's much more than a third. Again, it's getting close to half. And so again, our players, our RecPoker premium members, are making a ton of final tables. When they do, they're getting into the top 3. And when they do get into the top 3, they're winning these tournaments at a disproportionately high level. So this is so freaking cool. And to be able to say that our RecPoker premium members cashed for over $1.25 million in the year, like that makes me so proud and excited and happy. And I know some of you are thinking, well, Craig Savage, who I think is still in the YouTube chat right now, RECing Crew member Craig Savage, did go on and win a WSOP bracelet earlier this year, and that's probably skewing the results. But I'm pretty sure that bracelet cash was for less. It was for about $250,000, but I don't think it was for as much as $283,000, which means that even taking
29,000. So
yes, even taking that out, even if you don't count Craig Savage winning a WSOP bracelet, we still, RecPoker premium members, cashed for over $1 million in 2025. I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of all of you. I'm so excited about this. What a feather in our cap. And Rob Gardner, thank you so much for the work that you've put in over this last year to bring such a cool, interesting stuff like this to the fore, and helping with the podcast and the premium membership and all that. When we unleash our new Circle platform in the next couple of weeks on the poker world, it's just going to get bigger and better. and more exciting and more valuable. And I am just on cloud 9 right now. Thank you to everyone who's been involved with this. What a fantastic outing.
I was going to say, though, according to Hubie, it's not that big of a deal because we only added one number. That's according to Hubie. Hubie he's does some funny kind of math apparently.
Yeah,
according to Hubie, it's just one number, so it's
just
really,
one number.
Really, no big deal. Yeah,
we just put a 1 in front of the number that we came into last year. That's a great point, Hubie.
One number,
great point. Good call it.
Hubie keeping it real always.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to everybody again, and wow. Yeah, I know we kind of talked about this last week, but like when the original core team of RecPoker Crew members and me and Steve were putting this stuff together and trying to figure out like what's RecPoker going to be in this new model, we never had any expectation that our premium membership was going to cash for over $1 million in a year. That is just, I'm having a hard, like, I need to pinch myself. I can't believe this is actually true. That is so cool. So cool. All right, thank you, Rob. I hope you are feeling proud of yourself, Rob Gardner, because like you've been a big part of that.
Glad to be part of it, buddy.
Very exciting. Very exciting. All right, John Somsky. It's not just about cashing for over $1.25 million. We also play some real serious tournaments, which you mentioned earlier. Cost nothing to enter, but boy, do we try hard to win them.
Now that we've talked about the ones that don't really matter, let's talk about the stuff we all care about here. The RecPoker home games.
There you go.
Just a reminder, January's mixed event is going to be no limit 5-card draw. So be prepared to be playing some of that. So back in last year, we had 3 winners that have not been reported. Poker Geek MN, John Somsky got his ninth nightly victory for the year.
Nice.
K-Poker Wannabe, Ron Payton got his 17th nightly victory for the year. Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld got the last event of the year. Figures, why not? His 102nd lifetime victory for the nightly event. Jay Sudham, Jeff S. got his first nightly event victory for this year. So he brought in it on New Year's Day. Stewie 13, Stuart Carriage got his first nightly victory for the year. 80 Cat 32, Jeff Catalano got his first nightly victory for the year. Apple O' My Eye, Harold Berry won the daily mixed event, the last one held last year. Mike B 127, Mike Bear won his first international event for the year. East Coast Bidder Ben Enslow got his first international event for the year. Nice. And Mike B 172, Mike Bear won the LPP event. So he can contact info@rec.poker for his free month at Learn Pro Poker.
There you go. And I hope you do. Congratulations to all our winners. And speaking about the mixed games coming up. So, John chooses a different mixed game for every month of the year, and the games kind of stack on each other to help you get used to playing mixed games and sort of leaving Hold'em behind and trying mixed games more. So, what was the game in January again, John?
No limit 5-card draw.
5-card draw, and every month there's going to be a different mixed game throughout the month. We have a Player of the Year race. It's always on the second Wednesday of the month. But if you're not sure about dipping a toe into a mixed game and you're really more of a no limit Hold'em player, on the other Wednesdays of the month, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Wednesdays of the month, we have a practice mixed game with the same game that's going to be played in the next month's Player of the Year race. So there's lots of opportunities to get it there, and just try for free and see what works and see if you like it. And I really do encourage our members to get into some mixed games and give them a try. You can also we have a podcast, a mixed games podcast that's been released every month of this past year leading up to the mixed game of the month. We're not going to release them every year leading up to that, but if you want to get some primers, you can go to our podcast feed and look back month by month, and you'll find a mixed game episode that specifically we spoke to all sorts of mixed game experts and got all sorts of tips for how to play these individual mixed games. And so I'm pretty excited about that too. Lots of great ways to get more involved in the mixed games. All right. We have our food bank raffle. Let's give away a fantastic prize and roll on out of here Love the colors in the Wheel of Fame and Fortune.
I was just getting ready to mention that what
No,
the hell?
nicely done.
Again?
There we go. All right,
so blue, orange, and white one week. No.
So it came up food bank. So I'm going to donate $20 of my own money to the Second Harvest Heartland Food Bank in Minnesota, and I encourage all the rest of you to do the same. The winner, Michael Miller, 1566. I love it. Michael was very active in the chat today, and I like to see when the active members win. So, Michael, welcome to the show, and congratulations. You've won a free month at the Poker Forge. And so if you email info@rec.poker, just send that email to info@rec.poker and say that you won the food bank raffle on tonight's show. We'll set you up with your fantastic prize. And a quick last reminder, end of the month, January 30th and 31st is RecPoker weekend at Running Aces. We're going to give away a bunch of food there as well. It's going to be so much fun. We've got a bunch of exciting tournaments planned on Friday and Saturday. There'll be a couple little social events too throughout the weekend. Head to runaces.com right now and book a room, get comfy. It's going to be a blast. So I do hope that a lot of friendly folks go out there and give that event some support. It's going to be a great time, like it always is. All right, folks, I think that's all we have. I want to thank the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino for their support. Tana Karn, what a great interview. We had to go long for that one. Joe Coolis, John Somsky, Lorianne Persinger, and Visible Producer Rob Gardner. All our YouTube chatters, our premium members, our RECing Crew members, you, the audience at home, thank you so much.